Today in Matt's class, we are going to talk about how to illustrate the camera technique Dutch angle. So most of the time when you are shooting with a camera or when you are drawing a shot either in a comic book or you're drawing storyboards, anything like that, you're kind of mimicking what is something shot from a camera. Usually you have what's called an equilibrium. And what that means is your camera shot is panoramic and it's parallel to the horizon line. But sometimes we have, and not always, you don't want to do this a lot, but sometimes you want to have what's called a Dutch angle. Very simply put, you are taking your camera shot and you are kind of making it a little wonky by rotating the actual camera one way or another. And what it does by definition, you are disorienting your viewer. Let me talk about why you would want to use this. You would want to use this for sometimes action scenes or something really intense. Throwing in a Dutch angle here and there is something that is definitely really cool. Also, whenever you have characters that are in altered states, maybe they just had some kind of mystical power that's making their mind a little tripped out, or maybe they're on drugs or something like that. And if you want your audience to kind of feel what they're going through, because we have this equilibrium and our shots always have this balance, as soon as you throw in a Dutch angle, things just feel a little bit strange and you're kind of placing your audience into your character's shoes. I'm going to show you how to draw it. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. So before I show you how to draw a Dutch angle, I'm going to draw a normal shot that doesn't have the Dutch angle and how easy it is to switch that. So let's say we have a shot in a Pixar movie. It's Cars number 5. Do we really need another Cars movie? But let's just say. So here's our horizon, and here's the road coming out towards us like this. We've got a Keebler elf tree here. We've got a Keebler elf tree here. We've got some mountains in the background. We've got the Raisin Bran sun kicking it, 2 scoops over here. And then there's that redneck truck. It's like a pickup truck. James, what's the name of that truck?
Oh, like from Cars?
Yeah.
Oh, Mater?
Mater?
Tow Mater?
Tow Mater, okay. Ah, I get it. So let's say that truck, he's got like the buck teeth for the grill, and it's driving towards us really fast down the road. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of one-point perspective. It looks like it's driving towards us really fast. What if you were to draw the exact same thing but using a Dutch angle? So I'm going to draw another board right next to it here. I'm going to draw it just a little bit larger so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And all you have to do, you're drawing the exact same thing, but instead of starting with your horizon going across like so, what if you instead have your horizon going on an angle like this? And now we've got the road that's kind of coming out towards us like so. And then here is Tow Mater. He's got the Billy Bob teeth. And here's the road coming towards us like that. Here's a Keebler elf tree over here. Keebler elf tree. Do they still have Keebler elves, or is that just when I was a kid?
No, that's still there. I mean, you gotta brand the cookies.
They still make the delicious cookies with the fudge stripes.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the Raisin Bran sun kicking it, 2 scoops. And you see how now it really feels like Mater is just driving out towards us super fast. So again, the idea is it's the Dutch angle. So this does one of 2 things. For one, there's kind of the sense that this truck is driving towards us so fast that the camera can't even hold still. It's just kind of like, oh my gosh, what do I do? It's a truck driving toward me really fast. So there's a little bit of that. But honestly, what it is it disorients us. We're so used to seeing things like this. Also, in a design aesthetic, you guys probably know from if you've ever taken a design fundamentals class, anytime you have a lot of angles, it makes things feel dynamic. So when you have a lot of lines going across like this and up and down like this feels serene, right? Remember how I was just talking in the last video about how the sky and the clouds go across like this, and water trickling across a stream kind of goes across like this. It's very serene, it's very comfortable. As soon as you have an angle, it feels dynamic, and it's like a comic book, and it's Spider-Man swinging through a city. So dynamic is where it's at, and that is where a Dutch angle is going to help you. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier about how a Dutch angle can make it feel like your character is going through an altered state. Let me give you a really good example of what that might be. So in the very first Spider-Man movie, I'm talking about the very first Spider-Man movie that Sam Raimi directed with Tobey Maguire, who played Peter Parker. There is a scene where right after or shortly after Peter Parker is bitten by a radioactive spider, he goes home and Aunt May, I'm not feeling too well, and he just spent the whole day at school accidentally shooting webs all over the place. It's a really funny scene, but he goes home and he's not feeling well and he kind of passes out. When he wakes up the next morning, he wakes up on the floor and the shot looks a little something like this. So Peter Parker wakes up on the floor and he's kind of like this. He's actually drooling. His mouth is open. There is a puddle of saliva that's actually dripping on the floor. It's disgusting. And here he is laying here. Oh my gosh, he's got another arm over here. He kind of fell out of his bed. Here's his bed behind him over here. In the background, there is a table stand. The drawer, maybe there's like a lamp and an alarm clock over here. And here's the crazy thing. When people see this in an audience, not only does Peter Parker, did he get bit by a radioactive spider? When an audience sees this Dutch angle, because we're so used to having balance and an equilibrium, our audience now feels like, whoa, I kind of feel like I got bit by a radioactive spider. So it's very, very effective. Here's the great thing about Dutch angles. If there's a movie you've seen a zillion times and you know where all the Dutch angles are, if you see it in a movie theater and you're sitting in the very back and you know this Dutch angle's coming up, when that Dutch angle's on the screen, don't look at the screen. Instead, look at the entire audience in front of you. You will see every single person in the audience that's sitting like this. They will just suddenly, they'll go like this with their head, and as soon as the Dutch angle's done, they'll go back like this. They don't even realize it. Balance is a huge thing for us, and people can get sick if you do it too much, or if you've got one of those found footage movies and the camera is just going a little too crazy. People see that on a big screen and it fills their peripheral vision. You can get people sick doing that. So whenever you sporadically have a Dutch angle, you don't want to do it too much. You do it in just the right places. People will feel a little bit off-kiltered. If you do it too much, people will start getting nauseous. But it is so funny to watch. You will see the entire audience. They don't even realize they're doing it. Nothing is funnier than watching a bunch of people's heads like this, and everyone just kind of goes like this, and then they snap right back to it, not even realizing they're doing it. And how great is that to make a movie or to make an animated project where you are physically able to move your audience? That's like the greatest thing in the world. Let's face it. If you're making a comedy, what is the benchmark for a really good comedy? That would be when people watch it, they laugh. I would say if you make a comedy and no one LOLs watching that comedy, probably not a very good comedy. If you have a scary movie, if you're into the jump scare thing, I don't really care about jump scares, but to me, a really good scary movie would be that night when people go home and go to bed. When they go to shut off the lights, they're kind of like, I think I'm going to leave the lights on. Yeah, so that would be a really good scary movie. So it's very difficult to actually physically, or if you've got a drama and there's something really sad, if you can actually make your audience cry, that's not an easy thing to do. But if you're able to do that, wow, you just made a really good drama. So something like a Dutch angle is very effective because it is a shoo-in. Anyone can do this, and automatically you are physically moving your audience. How awesome is that? Dutch angle, get to know it, learn it, love it, and I'll see you guys in the next video when we talk about handheld.